Special thanks to this week's sponsor, Warby Parker. Now, I needed a pair of glasses about a month ago. I wear contacts, but I wear glasses when I'm at home. And I actually went to Warby Parker and bought a pair of glasses. And let me show you how easy it is. So all you do is select the try at home option. And they break it down by color, by fit, by shape. Let's try rectangle here. And look at how many different rectangle glasses they have. It's pretty incredible. So I'll pick one. I'll select the Brady here. This is actually one of the ones I selected. I'll pick black. And you click try at home for free. That's it. So you can select up to 5 pairs of glasses. So fill up your cart, they'll mail you a box just like this with 5 pairs of glasses inside. Go home, try them on, show your friends, pick which ones you like, and send the whole box back. It's that easy. All you have to do is wait for your glasses to arrive. So go to warbyparker.com/Tom Ward to check it out. Thanks, Warby Parker.
Hey guys, it's Loren Gray. I just sat down with Tom Ward. We had a great interview and you should definitely check it out.
Well, you look good. I appreciate you dressing up.
Yeah, I've been trying to get dressed every day so that I feel more myself.
Well, it's funny. I've been on. Oh, I'm recording, by the way.
All good.
Yeah, all right. I was saying, I've been on so many video calls lately, and just because you're on a video call doesn't mean you have to dress like shit. I mean, you can dress okay, and you're a good example of that.
Thank you. I tried.
Nice. So we got a lot to talk about. I want to talk about your single cake. I want to talk about your music career. I want to talk about your social media career just in general. But first, congratulations too. You just did that graduation I saw with Obama, LeBron, Pharrell,
Yeah,
a million other people.
Yeah, I actually watched it I got a hotel in Laguna Beach by myself. And because I just wanted to be by the beach, so I watched it there, and I had to call and make sure the cable was working and everything. But yeah, that was really cool.
So you were the only social media person there, or did they have other ones too?
There was Charlie D'Amelio was in it too,
Oh, nice. Okay.
and a few others. Liza Koshy. I want to say David Dobrik. I'm not sure if I'm doing that right. I don't know. Those are the ones I know for sure.
Okay. You're kind of like an OG in the space because you've been doing it since you were 13.
Yeah.
And in the TikTok world, I mean, 5 years is an eternity.
Yeah, it feels like it for sure.
I mean, it hasn't even been around for 5 years. I mean, TikTok hasn't. I mean, it's been around for what, a year or two?
Yeah, TikTok has been around I think for 2 years, and then I don't even know when Musically came out. I think it was a couple years before I got on it, or a year before. I don't know.
Yeah, but you come back from Musically, real quick, just on your stats. It's ridiculous. 20 million on Instagram, 4 million on YouTube, and 43 million on TikTok is insane.
Thank you.
You go back to before TikTok, obviously Musically. When you're starting out, I read that you started out at 13 and quickly got to 30,000 followers pretty quick. How did you make that jump just starting out in Pottstown, Pennsylvania?
Yeah, so I didn't really understand it fully. I was posting videos, but I didn't know that I was posting videos, if that makes sense. I was using it as a platform to make videos to post on Instagram, like you would with Dub Smash, which was kind of, um, you know, at the end of its road, I guess, around the time that I started doing that. So it was kind of like a new Dub Smash for me. I didn't view it as a platform. And people started following my Instagram that I didn't know, which was really strange because I had only had followers from my school and friends and family. So I started getting a bunch of requests and I was like, why is this happening? And then I realized that a lot of my videos on Musically were featured, which before TikTok, there was a feature on Musically called Featured, where you promote your video to the Explore page. And so that's how my videos got going. And then I started getting followers on Instagram, which then led me back to look at Musically, and I realized that's where it was coming from.
Were you in school at the time? I knew you were homeschooled later. Were you just in regular school then?
Yeah, so I was homeschooled from sixth, I want to say fifth or sixth grade to seventh grade. And then I went back to school. So I was in school during that time, and then I left school again shortly after. So it didn't last very long, me being back in school, but I was on the cheer team, I was cheer captain, I was, normal kid stuff.
So, did you get a lot of shade or a lot of hate? I thought it would be cool, and a lot of like TikTok stars and influencers get that. Like, people bullied me and made fun of me. Like now, it's so cool to be like a social media star influencer. You
Yeah.
think it would be badass? Like, I'm friends with this girl who's got 30,000 followers, but it wasn't like that when you were going to school, right?
No, no, things have changed so much. I think, especially in the last year, is when people started recognizing social media influencers a bit more in mainstream. I think that helped a lot. A lot of mainstream media starting to recognize the influence of social media. But before that, especially musically, was not cool. So I definitely did get a lot of backlash in school from people that I knew. I lost a lot of friends, and that was really hard. But I think that I kind of had a moment where I wanted to stop everything because I was like, oh, this is jeopardizing my whole middle school career. Like this is jeopardizing
Yeah.
everything. And I had one girl who was a fan of me, but at that time, fans were friends because I didn't have many friends. And she was like, you have to keep going. You don't know what this could turn into. Like, so many people watch your videos and enjoy your videos. And I was like, you're right. So I stopped going to school. I was homeschooled. And obviously, I made the right decision. There's
Yes, you did.
that, but I made the right decision.
You're from Pottstown, right? Pennsylvania?
Yes.
See, I'm from Cherry Hill, New Jersey, so kind of over the bridge from
Oh,
Philly.
yeah, really close.
Yeah, and it's wild. No Philly accent. Like, how'd you shake it?
I think because I moved here, some words I still have the Philly accent. My friends make fun of me for the way that I say phone,
Oh
and
yeah,
there's a few other words, orange, those kind of things.
yeah.
But I moved to Los Angeles when I was 15,
Oh
just turned
wow.
15. So I've lived here for 3 years now, and I have a lot of Valley friends. So.
Wow. So you're 13. You're going to school. You've got 30,000 followers. People are giving you hate. You go back home. What happened after that? Like, how did you blow up? Well, first of all, what kind of videos were you doing at the time? Just lip syncing or anything else?
Even just lip syncing at that time, obviously musically kind of turned into the lip syncing app. There was lip syncing, but I did a lot of comedy. I had this Scream costume, from the movie Scream, and
Yeah.
I make videos like dancing in that, and I did a lot of cute little funny videos that obviously would not be popular now, but at the time it was cute and it was funny and it was what was trending. So that's what my videos looked like at that time, and obviously I've evolved since then to what's happening.
Oh yeah. Well, I read that you said you were popular at first, you said, for being a pretty girl. And then, or somebody said that about you, but then you wanted to branch out and you wanted to cry on camera. That was the quote I heard from you. What did that mean? Did you mean you wanted to move beyond just putting a silly mask on?
Yeah, I think that I the whole shock of social media hit me really hard because I went from being so normal and having friends and going to school to being known as the 13-year-old that looks like she's 23. And I just really loved makeup, and that's kind of I'm 5'9". I've always looked older than I was, but that was a lot of the draw in the beginning was just that I looked a lot older, acted a lot older, and that's just, the way that I was raised and what I was brought up around in my environment. But I think that I kind of realized that it was important to be vulnerable on social media so people could see beyond the videos and the funny videos and the lip syncs. And I think that's what transitioned me into becoming not just a person on the internet, but a real person. And I think that's helped me a lot in, creating a substantial career.
Well, just on that note too, I want to commend you too for coming out a couple weeks ago about the unfortunate incident that happened when you were younger. And first of all, I've got two daughters. Number one, I couldn't imagine a 12-year-old even in that way. It's just so sick. I mean, anyway, you use your platform. I read all the press and all the comments and stuff. It seemed to be real positive, and you kind of inspired other girls to not be ashamed, not feel dirty or less than. It's not their fault. So I think a lot of good came from it, from just like you said, being more than just a girl on TikTok.
Yeah, definitely. And that happened before social media, and I feel like when I described it to my friends, and I mean, I didn't really tell anyone. The only person I spoke about with the situation was my best friend that lives here, and I don't have many friends out here anyways, so she was telling me some stuff, and I opened up about it. And the way I described it to her was I was I felt really isolated, and I wasn't isolated because nobody knew, but inside I felt, that I couldn't relate to anyone anymore because I had had this part of me taken away that, other girls couldn't relate to. So then I started social media and I started making these videos, and um, people didn't know any of that. People didn't care. And even though people at school didn't really know, I felt that connection because that's where everything took place, not at school, but that's,
Yeah.
a different world. And then once I was able to step outside that and make videos that people enjoyed, and it kind of became two different realities. And I separated that life from this one, and that helped me a lot. And social media, although there's always going to be hate and backlash that came along with it, it helped me to see the light at the end of the tunnel, and that I was more than that, So years later, I posted on Twitter so that people kind of understood why, because I know it seemed abrupt and really out of the blue for a lot of people. But I received a message that somehow somebody knew and they didn't have the right facts. I got approached like, you lost your virginity when you were 13.
Oh, Jesus.
That's not the way that I've ever looked at it, and I worked so hard to not see it that way. So although I was felt a little bit pressured because I wanted to be the one to tell my own story when I was ready.
Sure.
Um, Although it felt a bit pressured, I'm really, really glad that I could share that and that I've grown so much from it.
Were they looking to expose you, the person who came to you?
I'm not exactly sure what it was. It felt blackmail. It felt
Yeah.
I have this thing over you, and it wasn't anyone that I knew. It was like a random account, and that's how it felt to me. And because it might actually be the most personal part of my life, I wasn't going to let anyone tell that story for me or let it get out in the wrong way or any of that, because I know how people pick things up and then it just goes and goes and goes. So I thought, we're going to turn this into a good thing, and that's what I did. And I didn't want to drag it out. um, I didn't want to drag it out for personal reasons. I just
Sure,
wanted to
sure.
be there, and here it is. And if it helps you or if it inspires you in any way, that's amazing. And that's what I'm here for. And that's my purpose. But there it is.
Yeah, I just have, and again, I commend you. I mean, that couldn't have been easy, and were kind of forced to do it, maybe not on your timetable, which sucks too.
Yeah.
Um, the only other thing I wanted to ask you is, whatever happened to the guy? Because I read that you told your friend, and then you told your parents months later. If my 12-year-old daughter came to me and said that, I mean, I don't know what I would do. Do I go to the police? Do I go confront the guy and beat him up? Whatever happened to this scumbag?
I think that was something that my family didn't, obviously, that's never really happened. So they were unsure of how to deal with it. But at that point, by the time I had told them, I was starting to make videos. I was starting to grow away from it, and I kind of just wanted to forget about it.
Yeah.
that was a personal decision. It's different for everyone. My parents were, of course, very, very upset, but they also wanted what was best for me in my healing process. And I feel like the best thing that could have happened to me was where I am now,
Yeah.
because I was able to grow away from it, and I just didn't want to keep something going that wasn't it wasn't I didn't want to be a victim. Even then, although I felt awful, I didn't want to drag it out and have to relive it over and over again, police, and it
Yeah.
was right for my healing process, but I feel like that's different for everyone.
Yeah, and I get it. You don't want that to define you. You're so much more than a bad incident that happened on one day years ago.
Right.
Um, I think that gives you more depth than the average TikToker. Because I was thinking about this. I go, Lauren Gray has 43 million followers on TikTok. And I was watching your videos prepping for this, and I go, okay, she's dancing, she's kind of shaking her butt a little bit, she's looking at the camera. I go, okay, can anybody do this? I mean, obviously I can't do this, but can any young girl do this? And then I thought about it, and I guess the answer is no. Because if everyone can do it, everyone would have 40 million followers. So, what is it that you do that really got you to where you are now that separates you from every other, person out there?
I feel like it's been a lot to separate myself from everyone else, because you have to have something different to get further. You got to have there's got to be something about you. And I feel like for me, it's my connection with my fans. From day one, I've been very involved, and I really, really care. And I feel like I care a little bit deeper because I feel like after everything that happened to me, those are the people that were there. And I have that really deep connection with them that a lot of people don't have. A lot of people um, look at fans as dollar signs. And I'm not saying that I don't make money from social media, because I absolutely do, but that's not the way that I've ever viewed it. I don't think I made a lot of money up until 2 years ago. Like
Oh, wow.
I never really made a whole lot of money off of it. Sure, I did here and there, but the connection was more important to me than anything, because the way I look at it, those are the people that were there for me when they didn't even know what they were there for. There. And I
Well,
value that above
to
anything.
interrupt you real quick, a lot of influencers, and I've interviewed everybody, right? A lot of them do kind of look at how much merch can I sell these people? Merch, merch, merch. How many hoodies can I sell this month? And you don't get that feeling from you, are you even promoting a lot of merch, or you don't seem like the normal influencer?
I actually just released merch on my birthday this year.
Oh, congrats.
But I'd never done any merchandise up until this point. Um,
Wow.
yeah, no, I really didn't, and I definitely see the difference. I see a lot of influencers and living in Beverly Hills, and they have whatever, and I don't want to be that person. I want to earn, not saying that they didn't earn it, but I
Sure.
don't want to exploit what I have to make money, and I've always had that mentality. And I know that probably sounds like I'm just saying that, but that's genuinely how I feel.
Mhm.
And I feel like that's another thing that I guess separates me, or I'd like to believe it does, from that. And of course, I make money like that. This is my job,
Yeah.
like, but
And that's okay.
and that's fine. But I just don't. I never view it as how can I exploit my fans today.
Yeah, but you can tell, right? But the other thing too is, you look on Instagram, you follow all these, TikTokers or Instagram models and all this stuff, influencers, vloggers, everybody. You see the G-Wagon, the Mercedes G-Wagon in the driveway. Check out my new Lambo. Check out my new Calabasas house. Check out my watch. It's just constant that. And you see him at the LA parties, and you see him at all the conferences and all this other stuff, and you're nowhere to be found. You don't seem right. I'm like, where the fuck are you? Right? Where is Lauren Gray when all this is going on?
So Lauren Gray doesn't relate to a lot of people. I feel like I've always had very different priorities than a lot of people. Um, I mean, and I just don't relate to a lot of the things that other people relate to. I was with an influencer one time, had dinner, and this was like 3 years ago, and all he knew how to talk about was his social blade, his engagement, how much money he was making. I didn't even get a word in, and that
Not a good date?
not even close. But I just don't really value those things in the way that other people do.
Sure.
And I also feel like a lot of LA is all about partying and who you know and what you can do to step on people to get ahead. And I've never had to do that. I've never had to post with this person so that I can get a little bit more engagement or get this person to do this for me. I've never wanted to be one of those people. And I really value myself and my brand and what I've created because I've never had to do that. And I've never gone out of my way to go to someone's birthday party that I don't know so that I can get a picture with them. Um, and I just prefer to be by myself. I talk to my parents on FaceTime like every day. And I really love my parents. I love talking to my parents. And I have two friends. I have one that still lives in Pottstown and one that lives out here that I see every now and again. She's been with her boyfriend for the past 2 months because of quarantine. But that I'm okay with that. And that's what's worked for me. And it's made my life a lot less. There's no drama. There's no chaos. There's no accidentally leaked pictures of me drunk at a party because I don't do that because I'm fine working and living here with my dog and calling my parents every now and then.
Do you have like a team around you? Do you have assistants who are there all day? I mean, because it sounds like it could be a kind of lonely existence, right? I have two friends, they're nowhere to be found. I'm here with my dog. It's kind of bumming me out a little bit, Lauren. Like, are there other people you're in contact with? Are you okay?
I'm cool. I mean, this is just the way that I choose. I mean, obviously my friend and her boyfriend have been quarantined, so they're in Vegas right now visiting his family. But I've seen them a couple times. We've both been quarantined, so we're safe. We waited the 2 weeks. And I mean, I have my team. I talk to them every day. I talk to my parents
Okay.
every day. I don't have assistants or anything. I don't have anyone that
Wow.
lives with me. But
That's very rare in this world. Very rare.
I mean, I've never had to. I feel like I can handle most things on my own. And if it gets to a point where I need help, I'll ask for help. But
It's funny. I just got a text, and I can't say who the person was, but huge influencer, right? And I guess their assistant's name was Tom too. So she was using Siri to text him, and it went to me instead. And the text was, "Where the fuck is my clear backpack, and where's the weed?" I was like, I got it. I was like cracking up, like, what the fuck is this? And then they apologized, and I'm like, no, I thought it was funny, but like, you're telling somebody to do this for you, like, that's crazy.
yeah, the only time I ever had an assistant per se, which I wouldn't even call it that, I moved my friend out from Pottstown, my best friend that lives there. I moved her out here for a few months. And I really wanted to help her. Like, I wanted her to get out of there and see that there's a world outside of Pottstown, Pennsylvania. So I brought her to some shoots and things, and I was paying her, I was paying her to live with me, basically to help me in any way she could, but it wasn't like, where's my fucking backpack? It was like, hey, do you think you can take Smudge for a walk while I'm gone? Thanks. Uh,
Yeah, yeah.
but really, I just
Much
wanted
different thing.
to. And she ended up moving back home. Nothing bad, of course, like we're cool, but she just wants to be there with her friends, and like I get it, and we still talk all the time. But that's the only time that I've ever really had help, I guess, kind of, not really.
That's crazy. And you know, the other thing too, you bring up like collabs and stuff and clout chasing and all that. I can't name a TikToker that hasn't blown up because of collabs, right? You have all the houses now, Sway House, Hype House, Daisy's got her own house now. I mean, there's a million of them. And the whole thing is, I'm going to the model is I've got my own followers, you have a different set of followers, so when we collab, there's gonna be some crossover and we'll just get more followers from each other, right? And people do that over and over and over again and grow their followings. You are kind of an anomaly. You're kind of in a bubble all by yourself because you really didn't blow up because of that.
No, I mean, my whole thing is I always want things to be organic. So if we're making a video together, then it's because we're friends and it's because it's fun. And that's the way that I've always done it. And the whole house thing to me is it just seems like a lot, just a lot.
Yeah,
And I've been asked to be a part of things, and
I'm sure.
I just don't answer really. It's just not me. I get it if you can do that, but I just spend so much time by myself that it's an effort for me to go out of my way to hang out with people that I don't really know, be uncomfortable, make uncomfortable videos, and gain a few followers. It just doesn't seem necessary for me.
Plus, you don't need to. Why
Yeah.
would you? You know what I mean? I mean, you would if you had 2 million followers, maybe you'd be more interested. But at this point of your career, why? And the other thing about the house is a lot of people made a big deal about Charlie at number 1 now, right? But let's not forget, you have 43 million followers, and I went to Social Blade and looked too. It's mind not blowing to me. You're still growing 30,000 followers a day, like on average, which is insane.
Yeah, and I think that, and I know for me that, and I've been having this conversation with myself recently because I have always put a lot of pressure on myself because I've always been a one woman show, um, to do everything I can in a day. I remember in 2018, I would wake up at 6 o'clock every morning, shower, get ready, do everything by 7:30 because I have international fans. So I would post to in the morning to make sure that all my international fans saw whatever I was posting, and then I would go all day and I would, designate time to talk to my fans and DM as many of them, which I still do. But I feel like the older that I've gotten, I the more I realize that this is meant to be something that's fun for me and something that I I don't want to put too much pressure on because I still want to be fun. I don't want to be looking at my social blade every 5 seconds going, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. I only gained 30,000 followers today. I could have gained 50,000, which was my mentality. Um, and then I get down on myself because I'm like, well, what else could I have done? But I've kind of been coming to terms with the fact that like I don't need to worry about it every day. Like I'm fine, and my fans still love me, and it's fine. Like I feel like there's so much pressure on it.
Yeah. And the other thing, I've got a great question for you. What's more important at this stage in the game? What number is more important? Number of followers on TikTok or the number of streams on Spotify?
For me, TikTok followers, I've never really paid attention to it. Like when there's the whole thing when Charlie passed me, I was being completely honest when I said it doesn't bother me because it doesn't. Because I know that I'm still fine with who I am. My focus now is my music because that's what I'm passionate about. I have a record label, for God's sake. Like that's what I'm focused on. And that's what matters to me on a personal level. So I guess Spotify streams, but it all matters. It all kind of coincides. It all goes together.
Yeah.
So, but I think Spotify streams are more fun to watch too. I don't know why, but like
Why
you
is
can
that?
see on Spotify artists, you can see how many people are currently listening. And that's like, really cool to me. Like you can see that like 700 people are listening to your song right now. I don't know. It's just more fun like to watch than be like, oh no, how many followers did I gain on TikTok today? I don't know. I just post on it for fun now because I don't know. I just feel really secure in what it is.
Yeah, it seems like you're in a good place because social media is a job and can feel like a job. And all those people, like that dude you went on a date with who was talking about a social blade, it's real easy to get caught up in shit, my engagement's down. This photo didn't get as many likes as my last one. You know, why didn't this TikTok blow up? Over and over and over again, just beating yourself up. Where it seems like the Spotify thing is more fun, right? There's no engagement to hit. There's no magic number to hit, right? There's no metrics. I mean, there are. You can look into it, but it's just I want as many people to hear my music and like it as possible.
Yeah, and I also think that, you know, all like social media is a job, and a lot of people will post 3 times a day, make sure they're on top of the algorithm, and I used to do that. Um, but it just feels more organic to me now to post when I feel inspired by something and not force myself, because I've gotten so stressed out over looking for a video, looking for a trend, looking for a sound, looking for something to do. And that just gets really exhausting after a while, and also really, really stressful. And there's ups and downs with social media. One week you'll gain 100,000 followers, and one week you'll gain 30. And it's not up to you. And I just have to know that I'm doing the best that I can to balance social media, but also having a life outside of it that is fulfilling and that I enjoy. And that's still something that I struggle with, but
Sure.
I feel like just saying it out loud that there are ups and downs and that it's not something that I can control. I can only do my best and do my part and speak about things that matter. That's kind of how I look at it.
How often do you post now on each platform? Like YouTube, Instagram, TikTok?
YouTube, I've always posted whenever I have a video that I feel like is good, or I have a music video coming out, or lyric video, acoustic, whatever. That's kind of what I use YouTube for. But when it comes to TikTok, like I said, I try to post every day. But if it's one of those days where I'm really beating myself up to try to figure out something to post, I just don't stress about it.
Nice.
And Instagram, same thing. Like when I feel inspired, I mostly focus on my stories, my Snapchat stories, my Instagram stories, because that's easy and I can show people what's going on. I don't have to put too much thought into it. Um, but I still want my content to be good. And that's another thing. I put a lot of pressure on myself to make sure that my videos and my photos and everything are good, that I'm proud of. And I'm very nitpicky in that way. So that kind
Mhm.
of holds me back sometimes too. But I don't know. I feel very content with what it is.
That's good. And your pictures are always on point. I mean, the makeup is just, the lighting is just right, right? There's no flaws. Now that you're 18, do you feel like you can show a different side of you that you couldn't before? Does that make a difference?
Yeah, it definitely makes a difference because I feel like there's less judgment. Like
Mhm.
if I post a photo in a bathing suit, people aren't gonna look twice. But if I was 17, they'd be like, "Oh my God, you're only
Uh,
17." So there's less pressure in that way. But I'm also not gonna sit there and, you know,
be a hoe.
like hoe out so that I can get a few more likes. Um, that's just not. It works for some people,
Yeah,
but
it does. People have made careers off that.
yeah, but like I said again, I've never had to do that. So
Yeah.
I just feel fine continuing to be what I've always been and just evolving as a person.
Mhm.
And I feel like that's the best thing that I can do for myself.
You went from lip syncing on Musically, not all the time, but that was, you made a lot of videos like that, to actually singing and owning your record label. Like, could you imagine you'd be where you are now at 13 or 14?
No, I definitely didn't see it. Like I think I wanted to, but in the back of my head, I was always like, maybe this is just a phase and it'll pass. But I think along the way, and a lot of what's helped me is the fact that I don't go out, I don't party, I don't get involved in like groups and things like that. And that's actually helped me a lot because it's kept me very work oriented, and
Hmm.
it's kept my priorities straight. I feel like if I would have started hanging around people and going to parties and getting caught up that way, that I wouldn't be where I am because I think I just would have gotten caught up.
Hmm.
I'm really glad that I didn't.
What are your what are your influences? Like, who inspires you to make music? You know, who are your influences? Who are you listening to now? Like, what are you into?
Yeah, so this might be like what, but my number one like idol influence has always been Eminem from like the time
Really?
I was really little. My dad used to play him in the car and turn it down in the bad words. I know every underground song. I'm on his mailing list. Like I love him, and maybe that's why I feel so um content with being alone because like Eminem wasn't going out and doing crazy things. Like he's by himself and
He's in the studio working.
he's working and he's so successful and I've just been inspired by the career and the way that he came from nothing and made something. It's all just really that's what's inspiring to me and I relate to that. But recently I listened to a lot of like Lil Peep and Joji and I listened to
Did you see that documentary? I just started that. I didn't know much about Little Peep, but I was watching. I saw like the first half hour of it yesterday. It's funny on Netflix. Did you check? Did you watch it?
yeah, I watched it. I watched the whole thing.
What'd you think?
I mean, it kind of solidified a lot of things that I already knew because I am a really big fan of him as well. Um, but yeah, I thought that it was really interesting to see, and I love watching documentaries on other artists and successful artists, and a lot of different people because I just like seeing the way that their careers panned out and how they got from point A to point B, and that's what's interesting to me, and I guess that's how I prefer to spend my time.
Yeah, and that's why a lot of people like these interviews because instead of just, the normal interview you do is who are you dating? What do you think of Charlie? Just that clickbaity same question 100 times. People like to see you sit down and talk for an hour about other shit.
Yeah,
How did you get from Pottstown to 43 million followers on TikTok?
yeah.
I think I think that's more interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Um, so you've got a whole team around you now. You have producers, you have songwriters, and you produced Cake in your room. Is that right?
Yeah, I have a studio set up. I didn't produce it, but I recorded my own vocals here. So I got an industry standard TLM 103 mic, made that investment, and I learned how to record my own vocals and edit them and get them to where I like them, which actually
Wow.
um, gives me a lot of freedom because it kind of takes the pressure off of like when you're in the studio and someone's recording you and you only have X amount of takes to get it right. Um, and it gives me more creative freedom. I feel like if I wanted to write a song and record it, I could. I mean, I have friends, or my producers are my friends now that make the beats. So if I ever need anything, I'm just like, hey, you got a beat, and then I'll write and record. Um, I've recorded like my next 3 songs
Oh
here
wow.
in quarantine, so those are getting mixed, and yeah, that's kind of what I've been focusing on.
Are you going to do an album, or are you just going to keep rolling them out of singles?
So it's hard because I know we're working towards an EP, but every time that I write a new song, I'm like, oh, I want all of them to sound like this. Like I want every single song to sound like this, and then I make something new, and I'm like, oh, but this is so great. So it's kind of that beginning stage, kind of figuring out the sound, figuring out exactly what I want to sound like, what I want to be, which is fun because I can release singles and then eventually work up to an EP, and that's where we're going right now. But there's no pressure to be like, here's the album, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I was thinking about this as an artist. I mean, I'm not a musician or anything, but if I recorded something that is just incredible today, I wouldn't be able to sit on it for months and months and months till it goes through and the record company likes it and all this other stuff from it's able to be released. As a TikToker, you can film something this second and it's out in the world. Is it hard for you to sit on music?
The thing with that is, it is. So I'll record a song, and it's the best thing ever. I recorded Cake. It's the best thing ever. I love this song so much. Then you wait 2 months, it gets mixed and mastered, and you're like, watching paint dry, waiting for it to be done. And then it finally comes out. And when it comes out, you kind of get this new appreciation for it. Once other people have heard it and other people enjoy it, then it's just more of it's cool for me to see other people enjoy the song, even though I've heard it a million times and I'm sick and tired of it. Like, it's just fun to see other people enjoying the song. So that's kind of like the second burst of interest is when the song finally comes out and you're like, wow,
Yeah.
I loves it. So that's what's interesting to me. But yeah, I do get really sick of my own song.
Well, I'm a big David Bowie fan, and it was funny. Like you watch footage of him, and he wrote a lot of the songs just on an acoustic guitar. But the song we know is got tons of instruments, horns, big percussion, guitar solos, all this other stuff. And you're like, how did the producer get from this to the end product? Like, holy shit! Is it the
Yeah.
same thing with you? Like, how did it go from my vocal recording in my bedroom to this?
Yeah, it definitely goes through. There's a lot of things that happen between point A and point B. And you know what the most interesting thing is to watch is when you're in the studio, which I haven't been able to do, but when you are in the studio and you get to watch the producer actually create the beat, I always find that so interesting. And then obviously there's things added afterwards, but uh sometimes you write acoustically and then they start making it and they're just adding things in like it's nothing. Like that's so interesting to me. I could never do it. Maybe one day, but it's just really cool to watch. And that's one of the best parts for me to see it go from this to that in that process.
You're a fan of documentaries. You just reminded me. There's a cool one about. It's old now, but the Jay-Z's album, the Black Album. I'm sure that's probably 15 years old. But they made a documentary about it, and you saw like him in the studio with Timbaland, or the best is with Kanye. And Jay-Z's just talking shit like, Kanye, you're the worst producer ever. That beat sucks ass. Give me something. Give me something. And he would play like beat after beat and beat, and Jay would just beat him down. But then he played him this one beat, and Jay's just like eyes open, like this is the one. And it was cool to see like what the process is like, because you don't see that, you just hear the finished song. Like, what's your process like on a song like Cake? I mean, do you play any instruments, or how do you get the melody? How's
Yeah,
it work?
so I play a bit of piano. I'm not gonna sit there and say I play piano because I play a bit,
Yeah,
but I'm not Mozart. But
you don't
um,
need to be.
yeah, I focus more on the writing, the lyrics, the melody, and melody actually took me a while, because that's a tough one to be able to just hear melodies. It's a learning process, and I was also when I first started making music, I wasn't very comfortable in my ability as an artist. So it took a lot of me learning on my own, really working on my voice, working on what I know and my knowledge and how I can convey those. Because a lot of times I would be 16 years old sitting in a session with all these experienced people and I wouldn't say anything because I felt like they know more than I do. So
Yeah.
who am I to sit there and like tell them how to do their jobs? But then I learned more and I felt more open and I felt like I could throw out a melody and it was good. And it just took a lot of me practicing and feeling confident in my ability. Um, so
Because
yeah,
you're the star in there in the studio. I mean, it's you're running the show because you have an idea in your head that the producer may not necessarily know. So do you feel more confident when you walk in, like, this is my product, this is my show? I'm gonna kind of let them know what I'm thinking. Do you feel more confident to do that?
definitely, definitely. And I feel like once I started living on my own, I started singing more and I just felt a lot more confident in my voice. And then I learned how to record my vocals. And now I just feel like I get it now. And I can sit down and write a song on my own. And it's also great to have songwriters though, because it's nice to have people to bounce off of. And the vibe is always good. And like when we wrote Cake, we were in the studio before all this madness. And um, yeah, we were just writing, and then the producer starts making the beat, and we just write, and we loop it, and we loop it, and we listen to it, and we all throw out ideas. And it always starts with like a therapy session, because that's like it inspires a song. In all the sessions that I've ever been in, that's how it starts. And then you pull from that whatever it is.
Like a legit therapy session, or like something you're going over in your
Like
head?
just we just talk to each other like, what are you going through?
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
This is what's going on in my life. And even if it's not something personal to me, sometimes other people have experiences that you can draw inspiration from. It doesn't just have to be all about me.
Hmm.
because you obviously want people to be able to relate to what you're talking about. And yeah, so now I can write melodies, I can record myself here at my house, right over there, and I just feel a lot more creative control.
Mhm. So Cake, and that's the current song. I listened today. It's got 500,000 streams, but your other songs are incredible. I saw one like 35 million and another one at 23. So there's no doubt Cake will, be as successful as those ones. Um, yeah, knock on wood, I don't want to jinx you. Was that about a certain person? Because in case you haven't listened to the song, go listen to it. But it's really kind of the first verse is a guy talking down to you, a guy kind of treating you wrong, and then it goes into like I'm gonna do me, I don't need no man, kind of like women's empowerment thing. I'm gonna eat cake, like I'm gonna do whatever the fuck I want. Was kind of how I took it. Was that inspired by someone or a relationship?
It wasn't inspired by a relationship, although I've definitely been in relationships where I felt that way. Um, a lot of times we'll take something really random, whatever we're talking about, and you can kind of bend it to be about a relationship because that's what most people relate to. But really, it was just me ordering Postmates, and I was like, I was watching what I was eating, and I was like, oh, I wish I could. I wanted a blueberry muffin from Starbucks, and I was like, oh, I wish I could just order that, but like I'm trying to be careful about what I'm eating, and um, yeah, we had already started writing a song, about feeling controlled and those feelings, but that's kind of what created the tag, was that I just wanted to eat what I wanted. And then that
did,
kind of happened.
did you get the blueberry muffin?
I don't remember. I might have. I really don't honestly remember what I did, but I remember what it was, and I remember what started. And I've definitely been in relationships like that, so I can definitely relate to it in my personal life. Um, and even then, like moms can be that way. Like my mom can be that way sometimes, and you can relate to it in so many different ways.
Sure. What you talk about relationships? Have you had any public relationships? Like you don't seem, you're not on the websites. Doesn't seem like there's, TMZ following you around or anything like that. Are your relationships been public or are they all pretty private?
Not anymore. When
They're
I was
not public
young,
anymore.
no. When I was younger, yes. Like I dated a kid when I was 13, another one when I was 14, and those were all on the internet because that's what was fun. Like it was like, oh, let's post a cute picture together. But now I value my relationships outside of social media because as soon as
Smart
social
girl.
media gets involved, it just becomes a train wreck. Um, I had a boyfriend for almost 3 years, and people kind of knew, but not really. They thought we were friends, and it was a whole thing. And then there was always the weird social media stuff, and I just, now I just keep it completely separate because it's easier that way.
Is it tough for you to date because you don't want to be in the social media game, right? Like, hey, because they may be clout chasing, right? She's got millions of followers. Hey, tag me in that pic. Let's take a cute pic together. And really, in the back of his mind, he's like, I know I'm going to get tons of followers from this, right? So there's always that. Then there's the competition. Not every guy can be with a successful woman, someone who's more successful than them. Actually, most guys can't. So then there's that, right? You have to
Yeah.
deal with men's insecurities. And then you go, okay, so I'm going to date an accountant, a regular dude, right? But then they don't have any, they can't relate to your life at all. They don't know what Social Blade is. They don't know how you got bummed out because you only got 10,000 new followers today. So, like, what's a girl to do, Lauren? What is a girl to do?
There are good guys out there. There are. It just takes a lot of digging, but I feel like it's important to find someone, for me at least, and this is not for everyone, but for me personally, I want someone who understands, but also someone, like you said, who's not going to be insecure, and someone who respects what I do and what I've done, and isn't insecure about it. Because, and I'm not one to sit there and talk about it either. I've never
Mhm.
really, I'm not like, oh, I have this much money and this is
Yeah.
what I'm doing, but um I just go for people who aren't really on social media like that anymore. Um and people that have their own thing going, you know,
Yeah.
have their own life, their own thing going. Um, that's what works for me.
Are you dating anyone now?
No, not right now.
Okay. Are you looking or are you just focused on work?
Mm, not really looking. Just
No?
chilling.
Okay, good for you.
Work so much that it's
It's
I
hard
don't,
to have a real relationship. What's
yeah.
that?
I just don't know how I would do it. Like it's hard. It's hard to balance everything for sure. And I know how it's gone in the past and I'm good.
Yeah, no, no, I respect that. Um, what else did I want to talk about? Talk more about music. So what do you got coming up? Cake we should listen to. What else?
Yeah, I have another song that's ready to go. I'm not sure when it's coming out, but I sent it off, so it should be ready soon. Um, and
You're
yeah,
promoting merch. You got merch out. Where
I
where can
have
we get it?
LorenGray.shop.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. That's what
Talk
I.
more about the merch. Sell the merch, Lauren. Why should people buy your merch? What's so great about it?
It's
What's
cute.
different?
It's cute and it's comfortable. I wear it all the time, honestly. I worked really hard on it actually. I didn't want to release merch until I had a real, um, like I really knew what I wanted. And I didn't just want to release a t-shirt with my name on it. Like I wanted it to be something I
Yeah.
would actually wear. So yeah, I think it's all really cute. It's comfortable. I've seen a lot of people wearing it and I love seeing like people's pictures of them wearing it. It makes me feel like I did something that people like, which is what a lot of my life is based around. Let's do something today that people are gonna like. Um, but yeah, I don't know. It's been fun. Like it's really fun to put something out into the world and see people wear it and take pictures in it and like enjoy it. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, it's fun to be you're a creative person, right? You put, like music. You're putting something out there that wasn't there before, and you're doing it with some help. And you, like you said, you like to see like, wow, 1,000 people are listening to my song right now. Like, how crazy is that? A
Yeah.
thousand people are obviously you want 1,000,000 people listening or 100,000 people listening, whatever the number is. Like they're listening to something I wrote, and that's pretty badass.
Yeah, that's really exciting and I don't know. That's kind of what my whole career has been. Just being like, oh, this is really cool that people are watching this. This is really cool that people are listening to this and people are wearing this and buying this and like, I don't know. That's that's what that's what I like to see.
Nice. Any message to your fans before we go?
Um, Hi guys, if you're watching.
How about this? Any social media advice? Because everybody watching wants to be an influencer. So you impart some wisdom, Lauren. You've been in the game for a while. What can you teach everyone?
I would say consistency, being creative, stepping outside the box, and being organic and being yourself. I know everyone says be yourself, but like actually that's what works is when people can relate to you as a person. So that's what takes you the furthest is when people feel you as a person, not just someone who has a Lamborghini and lives in Beverly Hills.
Nice. Well, Lauren, stick around for a sec, but we're going to say bye. Thank you so much for finally connecting. This is awesome. I had a good time. We talked for almost an hour, which is fucking crazy. So this is good. Hopefully, it wasn't too boring for you.
Not
But
at all.
everybody, subscribe. I've got Brent Rivera, Abby Rayo coming up, and just more. I got some cool things in the works. So make sure you follow me. And Lauren, thanks again.
Awesome. Thank you.